McKinley Bears, welcome. This is Kmbn 2.2. I am so glad that you have joined me here today, and I'm so glad to be back with you. I can't believe it's already October. It boggles my mind. It seems like the school year has gone by just lickety-split. I have a guest with me today. This is Spookly the Square Pumpkin. I don't know if any of you have met him before, but we're going to read a little story about him later, and so wanted to make sure that you knew that he was our special guest for today. So today we're going to start our KMBN with some interesting facts. Remember, in our first episode of KMBN a couple of weeks ago, we looked at the difference between a fact and trivia. Well, today I want you to answer this question because I want to gather some facts about you. Okay, so my question is, if you could dress up as anything you wanted for Halloween, what would it be? Now, this may not necessarily be what you are dressing up for Halloween this year, but if there's anything that you could dress up for and you had all of the equipment for your costume and everything, what would it be? All right, this part is really important for my data collection. Once this KMBN is done, go back to the same page of the school website where you found the link for KMBN and click on the Fun Fact Submission link. Then you can enter your answer and I can compile all the data to see what kind of costumes are the most popular among the McKinley Bears. Thank you so much for your help. Now, don't forget, at the end of this KMBN, go back to the school website, to the principal page, and click on Fun Fact Submission. Okay, so now here we are at our Did You Know? I have some great Halloween facts for you. First of all, did you know that turnips and potatoes were carved for Halloween before pumpkins were used? Those look kind of gruesome, actually. And all spiders have 8 legs. And then most, but not necessarily all spiders, have 8 eyes on top of that. Is that weird or what? And I chose this fact because the name of this flower is actually called the corpse flower. And you know, it will grow to be as tall as a man. It grows in a country called Indonesia, and from what I understand, it smells really gross. In fact, I think from the information that I have read, it smells like rotting meat. That is so gross. I don't know about you, but I don't think I could handle smelling that one. Here we are at our final segment for KMBN 2.2, and this is story time. Many of you know that I really do love to read, and I especially love to read books that are fun, but that might have something for us to remember. So here we go. Hi, I'm here with my friend Spookly, and Spookly has a story to share. So I'm going to read a story, and as I'm reading the story about Spookly, I want you to think about what's important for us to remember about Spookly's experiences as a square pumpkin. The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin, written by Joe Troiano, illustrated by Susan Banta. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookly was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookly the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, What a sight! Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. Suddenly the fence gave way, and 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped. Again he flopped. Again he flipped, and then he stopped. Right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookly, the square pumpkin, had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then, one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack, with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. And look at that little Spookly way down there at the bottom of that stack. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookly, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookly's were the most special that he had ever grown. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And that morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. But some were cubes and some rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. Now every year on Halloween, Spookly's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookly grew. Maybe someday, if you tell someone, that someone you tell might go tell another. And maybe one day we all will discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. I think you know what I'm thinking. Spookly sets a great example for all of us.